Yeah. Yeah. Come and never sleep on me. Eyes on my chain, 숙여 너의 고개를 what you looking at fool. 너의 눈 허리 멍청했고 find your comfort from another, yeah. I go low like undercover, yeah. Wanna know my name, 죽지 않은 일은 위에 부어버려 기름 gas. You can't even guess me, cause I'm baby. High low 확실해, not like maybe, yeah. Devil let me welcome to my palace. 찾지 않아 Alice, you just keep on wondering. You just keep on wonder, 찾지 않아 Alice, but in 너의 memory. I just pop a bin, Danny have been. 나는 걸어 Boeing 747, I get weak.
What's up, everybody? So we're back for part 2 of Goldeneye. We're going to be picking up at the bathhouse scene. And before we get started, how is everybody? I'm glad we got the Medicine Man and the Barely Living Daylights and Caleb Mabry back in here. Good to see y'all.
Good to see you, Joe Nathan.
I believe this is our first part 2 of video, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we just had so much to say about Goldeneye.
And Punisher Warzone.
What?
And Punisher Warzone.
Oh, yeah, Punisher Warzone. Anyway, listen, if you're watching this right now and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel, all right? I looked at my analytics, and 68% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed. And also, man, watch more than a minute of the video, please. Anyway, let's get started.
Whoa, a minute?
Yeah, it's like...
Why are we sitting here and talking for 4 hours? If you're going to watch a minute.
For a minute.
Man, I can do a minute video. James Bond, good.
Yeah, Goldeneye's good. Bye. Like,
I can give them everything they want. Don't worry.
So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So the bathhouse scene, we got Pierce Brosnan all reclined back in the water, looking all, seductive and all.
Oh, I was going to say scuzzy with that chest hair out like that.
Man, listen, you got to...
I'm kidding, man.
Got to show it off, all right? Anyway.
He's rocking
it. So we see old Xenia Onatop meeting in the Turkish bath. So what do you think about this scene, y'all?
that poor guy. Was that just a random guy? Or
what was that dude even doing? I mean,
was he just looking for the bathroom or like?
No, I think he was. Yeah, I want to say he had a gun. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. All right,
I think he had a gun, but I carry a gun with me when I go to the bathhouse as well. So, I mean, who knows?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
packing.
I guess. Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch that scene. I didn't notice he had a gun. I
think he had a gun. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong.
He probably, but like it just. I don't know. Every time I watch that scene, I'm just like, who's this random guy like looking for his towel that Bond?
Also, it feels like it'd be dangerous to run in there like he did anyways. It's probably the floor is probably wet.
Yeah.
Like safety first.
Safety first, lads. Safety first.
So I just want to say that, if you mute this scene, it's not bad.
Oh.
It gets way better. Bond is great here, though. And Xenia looks good.
Well, I mean, Xenia's going to look good anytime, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. She is a stunner.
But, I mean, like, I do love just the facial expressions Pierce Brosnan makes when he's trying to pull himself out. And he's all, like, pushing himself and he's making that, that sound he makes, like, I mean, I just love that. I love that whole part. And then Pierce, the gun owner, and he says, go ahead, Caleb, I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was going to say Pierce does make odd noises. I think he's a good actor, but like when he's in a fight or in a struggle or something, he vocalizes in an odd way.
And I love his pain faces that he has whenever he's like, getting hurt. Like, but I love, him pulling the gun on her and he says, no more foreplay. Take me to Giannis. Like,
I think for a split second he was wanting to, and she bit him a little too hard on the lip and he changed his mind.
I mean, I totally think the first part of that he was all about it, but then
Oh yeah.
whenever he realized, okay, this is he had to think, man, that admiral totally died.
Yes.
Like,
And I'm fixing to suffer the same fate.
and I'm in his position now, so
Yeah.
So unrelated but related. There's a lot of close-up shots of Pierce in this movie, and I don't remember if the bath where he's like laying in the bath water was one of the close-up shots on his face. I know there is a scene in the last quarter part of the movie where they zoom in on his face. Man, Pierce had a unibrow for like the
Really?
majority of this movie. Yeah.
Huh. I
Yeah.
never
He got
noticed.
also his facial hair comes like almost all the way up to the right of his cheekbone because like he's got that 5 o'clock shadow and like
let
my
me
hair
ask
goes
you
all the
this.
way up there.
Do you know
Huh?
why he has the 5 o'clock shadow in Goldeneye?
No, but he needs it. Like it looks good.
Because the directors of the movie thought he was way too fresh faced and too young looking, and they
Nope.
thought give him a 5 o'clock shadow to make him a little bit not
Sizzle.
as you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works. I'm not talking bad about the 5 o'clock shadow. I'm just saying like people that think he's like way too clean cut, dude. Look at his unibrow. Look at his 5 o'clock shadow. Like that stuff they do get in, and you can see with some of these shots in this movie. So like I was like, damn, Pierce just wax it a little, man. Even I shaved my unibrow.
That's something I was gonna say, and I refrained from it in the first part because I didn't want anybody to take it as a gripe. But I'll say, but like sometimes Pierce is so good looking, I have trouble buying him as a secret agent. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
like
you look like a supermodel, and you chose to be a secret agent. I don't buy that.
My wife does say he's the prettiest one of all of them, but my wife does not find him attractive.
Yeah.
Like that's what she's told me.
so I've watched some other videos and stuff where people talk about Pierce coming in after Tim and Roger. And I think the people that I'm thinking of in this video, they were like, this guy was a Roger fan or a Pierce. Jesus, he was a Dalton fan, like big time. Like he watched License to Kill and The Living Daylights in theaters, and when he went to watch Goldeneye, he didn't even like the movie because he's like, this is just the dude from Remington Steele. He's like, he's a TV actor. He's way too pretty. Like he said, it wasn't
Yeah.
like 10 years or so or later before he actually realized, like, hey, this movie's pretty good. Like he was
That's that's something that I can't really speak on because it was yeah, I guess it really would be before my time. Um it is odd that they chose him because he was already in Remington Steele, which is based on what little I know, it looks like a Bond inspired TV show.
it's different. Like the whole premise of the show's weird, but like they do cool stuff, kinda. I don't know.
I would
Well,
definitely think it's a Bond inspired, but it's kind of like a detective show, right? Isn't that?
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
he works for like an investigative agency, I think, or like is it an investigative agency or is it like a security
Okay,
firm?
so it's like a private investigator agency, and the woman of the show is actually the detective, but she could not get any jobs because she was a woman. So she made
Oh,
up Remington Steele, and then just so happens Pierce Brosnan's character comes in, and he is the Remington Steele. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, so
It is like he's kind of an asshole.
So he's a
Like,
fake detective in it.
yeah, he's not even a detective. Like he's a con man,
yes,
and he's great. He's great in the show. Like it's a big departure from his 007 portrayal, I think, other than like his facial expressions, really. But he's really
Yeah.
young. He's really
very
young.
young looking.
Like he doesn't look as good there as he does here.
That's
He
the
just
way I think. I honestly think that we needed him to wait until he was about 42. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for
I
sure.
think when you're 40, 42, that's a good age to play Bond, most definitely. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
I just think that's a,
I've got a few years before I'm gonna,
replay Bond.
before I'm gonna give it a shot.
and so the bathhouse scene leads to Xenia taking Bond to meet Giannis. So of course, we still don't know who Giannis is at this moment. Go ahead, Caleb.
I think.
Oh, I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
Brent.
this scene. So is the bathhouse scene felt very Austin Powers ish. I feel like they definitely referenced it in Austin Powers. Like the one scene where he fights a woman and they end up falling out of the building and he like twists where he like makes her land first on the car. It just kind of felt like that a lot, but yeah, Xenia was still very hot in it.
So Medicine Man, so you talking about the scene where like, are you talking about the scene where like he takes the woman's thing off and it's like, this is a man, baby? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I don't think so. No, it's a Russian one. Is it? I don't know. I haven't seen Austin Powers in
I
so
mean,
long.
dude, it's been a long time since I've seen Austin Powers, so I'm probably the one getting it.
Don't worry, we're gonna review the Austin Powers movies on the pod.
Nice. Okay.
I hope anyway.
Anyway.
But yeah, that just it gave me very Austin Powers ish vibes.
Okay.
You know what movie did that for me? Like, The Man with the Golden Gun.
Diamonds Are Forever always.
And that one.
I was like,
I was thinking about that movie today.
plenty
I
of
was,
time.
I was thinking about that movie this morning. And I was thinking about some of the scenes in that movie, and I was like, what? Did that actually happen in the movie? Or was that a fever dream? Because
Okay.
that movie was wild.
All right, so her name was in the Austin Powers movie was Robin Spitz Swallows. And actually it says her fate is a direct parody of Fiona Volpe from Thunderball, which is
Okay.
Well, so Fiona Volpe takes the bullet. Remember when he's at the
Yep.
at the thing, he uses her as a human shield.
Yep.
So what about the statue park, y'all?
I loved it.
Like, man, whenever I was a kid, now remember, Goldeneye the game came out in 1997. I was born 93, okay? So I was about 4 or 5 when I played this game. Guys, the statue park level in that game scared the crap out of me.
It was hard.
I mean, as a kid, it was really hard, you know. Like,
Well, it is now because the render distance in that game is so shallow. So you'll be walking and you can only see like 5 feet in front of you, and then 4 or 5 guys will appear. But now the set in the movie is kind of eerie too.
yes,
And that's what I like about it. It's a perfect set piece for Trevelyan to appear.
yeah. Just honestly, man, this set is one of my favorite all time like Bond
Yeah.
sets because it's basically like a graveyard for the Soviet Union. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It's what it looks like.
and here's all the monuments to it. Here's all, there's Lenin and all these communist dictators, and they're all in this park, and Bond has to go in there and
Yep.
get to the bottom of who Giannis is. And of course we see who Giannis is, and it's our old friend 006. So Brent, let me ask you this. Was this a reveal to you at all, or did you already know this?
well, like I said, the title scene or the title sequence where he was second billing kind of gave it away.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Well, I was going to say if you were hip to Bond in the mid 90s when this came out and you were looking forward to this movie and you saw the trailer, that would have spoiled it too.
You just gave it all away.
Which I think I had known. I don't know, something in the back of my mind had like Sean Bean being a Bond villain. I already knew about that. So
did you know it? You think you knew that because of the game?
maybe.
Maybe.
No, might be.
But yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't a huge. I wasn't like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I got you.
I like the exchange of dialogue here.
I do too.
It's kind of
And
It's kind of touching.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets kind of emotional. I think we even see Bond shed a tear.
I I honestly just love every exchange they have in this movie. Like they play off so well with each other. They are so like their
these
on
actors
screen.
have to work with each other, you know?
Yeah, their on screen chemistry is so good.
I know this has been said before. I'm not breaking any new ground, but like I think Sean Bean would have made a good Bond.
Most definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think
It would have
that's
been tough to
why.
have Bond die in every movie, though.
Yeah,
I mean, that was a thing where he died at the beginning of the movie for a
yeah,
long time.
yeah, it's true.
Spoilers. Sorry.
But I think that's part of why it works so well because it's and especially in this scene, they're trying to make it like Bond looking in a mirror, basically looking at himself.
Which, because they are like they're.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both double agents, and I think like he's. They kind of reference like him having a lot of the. I mean, a lot of the same qualities, the women,
Yeah.
everything like that. So.
And another thing that he mentions here, which you might have been referring to, but they both had traumatic childhoods.
Yeah.
And
I want to talk
one
about that for a second.
I was gonna say real quick, one handles it better than the other.
So me being a history teacher, you know, I love this aspect of 006 because his family was Leanne's Cossacks. And for those who don't know, Leanne's Cossacks, as they talk about in this movie, actually were very anti-communist. So they joined up with the Nazis during World War II to fight the Soviets. So the British, like, you know, I guess like took them captive, you know, and were supposed to, you know, let them have freedom, but they actually gave them back to the Soviet Union. And as Alec Trevelyan says, you know, Stalin had them. Well, no, Zukovsky says, you know, Stalin promptly just had them shot and killed.
Yeah.
But it turns out this guy, his family made it through it, but the shame of that made his dad kill his mom and then kill himself. So
Yeah.
I actually think it's a really good backstory, but I'm going to say this. I just really don't buy Sean Bean's character as being almost like 55, 60 years old because he would have to be getting, I mean, even in 1995, he would have to be there in age, like, you know?
It's true. Which also, I mean, he doesn't really, it doesn't feel like he's a Cossack necessarily. Like, he doesn't, obviously, if he was so dedicated to that, he wouldn't have made this alliance with General Orlov, who was a communist. So, I mean, he doesn't really, he's more in it for, my parents were Cossacks. They were killed because of it. I want revenge on everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's not even necessarily revenge against the communists. It's more revenge against the British. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But he also just want to be super rich.
Yeah, that's always
he's real worried about that for some reason.
So, of course, I do love how just right before Bond gets tranquilized, you see him go for his gun just to go ahead and shoot him right then. So you know that's how Bond was going to do it. He was going, you know, past history aside, still going to kill this dude right here. But as we know, he gets tranquilized and he wakes up in a helicopter with a beautiful woman. So Colton,
how's he going to get out of this, dude? How's he going to?
He's going to use his head.
She was very screamy. And
sorry?
Natalia was very screamy here.
Oh, dude, you should her and I'll take this over her in the game because she is constantly walking right into gunfire.
Yes.
I'll take this over half the Bond girls we've had so far. She's semi-competent compared to a lot of the other ones.
I mean, we definitely see her competence later on in the movie. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
that kind of has something to. It kind of harkens back to what I said in the first part. Like she seems real.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Natalia most definitely does seem like just a regular person that is thrown into this
Yeah.
world of high stakes international espionage. Very okay. I don't know if you guys watch Hitchcock, but Natalia is very Hitchcockian because Hitchcock had this thing where he would use regular people and he would throw them into like the world of spies. So if you ever seen a
Okay.
Hitchcock spy movie, this is I think it's very Hitchcockian right here.
So I'm going to go off on a tangent for just a second, but that could be why people compare From Russia with Love to Hitchcock movies because that's sort of I can't think of the girl's name at the moment. But like,
Tatiana Romanova.
Tatiana, yes, that's sort of the same
Yes.
thing with her, right? Yeah,
She was just a boring cipher clerk and then was
Yeah.
on a, you know,
well, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't know that was a Hitchcock thing.
you guys listen for this pod whenever we get done with the Bond movies and the indie movies and the Austin Power movies and all those other movies we talked about, Punisher movies, whatever.
No, not.
We need to look at a few of the Alfred Hitchcock movies because guys, you will see the DNA of the Bond movies in these movies. I'm telling you, like it's
Yeah,
but,
I'm all for that.
anyway. So Colton, I want you to take the part about Bond using his head because you had expressed a little bit of I don't know, just a little concern about it, a little bit of interest in it. So I want you to have at it, boy.
So like the scene's fine. He wakes up in the helicopter, it's fine. Like
He's a little tied up.
he's a little tied up. Like the set design for the helicopter, I assume it's a real working helicopter. Maybe not what they blow up. I assume it's like a prop of some sort. But like the eject button by the head, it looks like it's velcroed to the wall. Like he's shaking around, moving. The button's moving. Like it's probably it don't look great. I mean, I like the scene, and like it works. Like he uses his head, he hits the button, he flies out, saves the day. Everything goes good for the most part. It's just like you think they could have made the button look a little less tacked on.
So
Like, I don't like. Did you look it up? Did you see if the button is actually there?
I did not, but I want to say something about this. I
Okay,
really do not think they would make it right there because one, think about this. If you're going to fly a helicopter, one, you're going to have a helmet on.
correct.
Helmet's
Yeah.
automatically more bulky than your head.
You could
Yeah.
easily bump it.
You could easily
Yeah.
hit that.
I mean,
okay?
you're going to go through some turbulence.
So I really think if the eject button is probably going to have a case around it, and it's
Like a
probably not
flip-up
going to be
case.
next to your head. It's probably going to be near another control of some sort. What do you think about it, Medicine Man?
So when he turns the control panel on by hitting his head against that.
And the
He's
interior
really-
lights.
Yeah, he's really using his head in this scene. But like he turns the control panel on, but is that all he turns on is the interior lights? Because it looked like the entire control panel came on, but it had to have already been on because they've already set the missiles to fire.
Well, here's how I took it. Either some part of the electronics is on a timer or it's being remote controlled or something.
He's in sleep mode like Bond.
What?
The helicopter was in sleep mode just like Bond. He had to wake it up.
Oh, okay. The helicopter got tranquilized. Okay, that makes sense. That's how they got the helicopter there. Okay. Anyway, so I took that as sort of maybe you'd call it a coincidence that like the helicopter came on about the same time that Bond woke up and was trying to like do something, or maybe whoever was controlling the helicopter was like, "Hey, Bond's up, turn the helicopter on." Like, I don't know.
Okay, but this is the Tiger, isn't it? I mean, this is the Tiger helicopter.
Yeah.
So they just stole this thing. So now they can control it remotely.
They can control a satellite remotely.
I mean, I guess maybe it came with the remote control and when they stole it, I'm not sure. Also, it really just seems like such a waste to blow it up like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, dude.
of course,
It
they were
wasn't
going to pin. They were going to pin it on Bond. That was the plan. Was to pin it on Bond, and I guess let everybody believe that he was stupid enough to blow himself up with his own missiles. I don't know.
The way I look at it is they have the world's best hacker. They can do whatever they want in the 90s.
That's kind of what I was going for too. I mean, you could just go ahead and explain it away as, hey, that's Boris, who we've not talked about at all.
He is invincible.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that actor. He's great in a lot of other
Okay.
things. He's good in this
Colton,
too.
I see what you're seeing in this scene, and it's kind of what I thought. Okay, so that seat that he's in the pilot seat. It's probably an air seat. It probably has some sort of air ride cushion. And I think that the button is attached to it in a way.
To the seat.
So it's attached to something like it's attached to like whatever is also attached to the air ride mechanism.
Yeah, I would assume that it goes like down the wall panel underneath the seat to the ejector.
Yeah, because the reason I say that is because it's moving with the like you see the back of my chair. Like if I were to do this, like the button is like moving with it. So
Okay, so I didn't catch that. It just looked like it was moving on the wall. So I need to rewatch that scene. That's a fault on my part.
But I'm not saying that to defend it. It still looks like a really stupid place to put an eject button. But
Yeah.
Of course, when they do eject, it ejects the entire cabin and
Right.
not just the seats, which I'm not sure how. I mean,
so the
that
cabin
was
is
cool.
probably air ride or something.
all I have to say is the things we do for frequent flyer miles.
All I have to say is for England, James.
That's a second joke that he told to Natalia, and she didn't laugh at either one.
Like literally, he did 2 jokes
Yes.
right then.
In the face of danger. Nothing.
But he did get a kick in the shins.
Yeah, why did she do that? He just saved her life.
Fed up is why.
And Boris told her, you said we haven't talked about Boris, so I'll say this. He told her not to trust, told her not to trust anyone.
After he got her captured, of course. I mean, well,
Yeah.
right before he got her captured. So, also, just a little thing here. She was no longer tied up for some reason. When he goes to get her, she's no longer tied up.
Well, neither one of them are. When the cab lands, they're
No, he's still tied up. He has to break free. Like it shows him
okay.
Breaking free, but whenever he opens the door to get her out, she's untied.
She was untied the whole time.
She looked tied up at first.
No,
Whenever she was kicking a seat.
If that was the case, I would be so pissed. Like when we landed, I turned around, I'm like, all right, let me get you. Are you serious?
You could have saved us the whole damn time.
You turned around and she's like, man, that was awesome. High five.
Yeah.
She's back there. She's got her big gulp. She's like, I have got to go to the restroom.
Oh, man, I'm glad you did that.
So the next scene, we get them being escorted to the military archives. And like, guys, this is like peak Goldeneye for me right in here. Like this whole, from the statue park to the end of the chase. No, statue park to the end of the train. My favorite part of the movie, besides the pre-title sequence. So what do y'all think about the archives? Like we got Defense Minister Mishkin, which I think I said something about this part 1 of this. He was supposed to be General Pushkin. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I mean, I hate that he gets off here, you know. I happen to like my friendly Russian KGB generals, you know. Like
I think
Pushkin, so was Pushkin a villain in a previous one, or was he was good?
He was an ally.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was like an ally. He was like the head of the KGB, right?
Yeah. I think this scene plays better having a different actor, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
Um,
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to see John Rhys Davies get a bullet to the head, you know.
Well, yeah, that I don't want to see him get shot, and also this actor who I've got it right here. I'll have to scroll, but anyway, he plays a menacing character very well, um, and I love this whole interrogation scene.
But even though he plays that menacing character at the same time, he's able to listen to reasoning. Like I mean,
Right.
I fully believe that he believes Bond and Natalia before he dies. Like
Yeah.
he knows Ormov is a shady dude anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he it feels like he's been suspecting Ormov. He hasn't.
Yes.
And I mean, I don't think of him as menacing necessarily. He's more like just um
No nonsense, kind of like,
yeah, just
yeah,
very serious,
maybe
very
maybe that's what I meant. But I
obviously
also,
more of a better at his job than Ormov.
yeah, uh, Pushkin, I feel like would have come off like too friendly.
Yeah.
Um,
I also like how Bond uses, he appeals to Mishkin's sense of patriotism, his sense of nationalism whenever he's like, well, what's the penalty for treason? Like I dig that because, Bond's a patriot himself,
yeah,
So, and he knows that this dude is a straight shooter just like himself is. So he's not going to be on the side of Giannis and the people who killed all those guys at Severnaya. So I dig
yeah.
the way Bond does it.
I like when they're shouting at each other and they're just firing back and forth real
Yes.
quick. I love
I
that.
love it too. Yeah.
That's so awesome.
And Natalia gets her most famous line here, the
Boys with
toys
toys.
line. So anyway, Ormov comes in, and you can tell. Like one thing I like about him is you can tell he's been drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I
and
love that addition to
like
the.
he's a little bit disheveled. You can tell he just swigged a little bit from the flask before he came in. And I also like after Ormov kills Mishkin, he takes Bond's gun, he takes the bullets out, and he hands it back to him. Gives him his gun back. Like, I don't know, I just like that scene.
Yeah, I do too. I like how he's clearly like panicking and he's pretty much thinking out loud. He's like, okay, he's unloading the gun and he's like, Defense Minister Michigan killed by secret agent James Bond and throws him the gun. Yeah.
And so of course we get Bond taking Ormov through the door, and then he grabs an AK and goes like, I mean, there's no other way to say this, just goes buck wild. I mean, this whole sequence is, I mean, guys, it's pretty wild. Like
This is one thing Martin Campbell does really well. Action scenes.
Yes.
Like it's not disorienting. You know where everything's taking place. He uses a lot of wide shots. It's easy to follow, but it's also like really fast paced and exciting.
Like this scene could have been in a Rambo movie. Like, I mean, seriously.
It reminded me kind of Die Hard.
Yeah, I mean,
this
Die
scene in
Hard,
particular.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I really do like this scene. We just get them running through. I just think the archives is such a good set piece.
It is.
And the video game, I mean, I'm gonna stop and talk about the video game for really quick. The N64 game, you can tell they really, really tried to pay attention to the detail.
Dude, you're so right.
Very much like the one in the
that is something that is so impressive about that game. It's so old. And the graphics are dog shit, but it's so somehow it captures the atmosphere of every set piece.
Yeah.
With those muddy graphics. I don't know, like you could play that game and then watch the movie and like like this is this level, this is that level. It's yeah.
And something else I want to talk about that we haven't discussed. I feel like whenever we discussed the Q sequence, we just basically talked about the sandwich. But Bond uses one of his cute gadgets here, which is his second grapple gun of the movie.
Yep.
The belt, and he uses that to swing across the big room in the archives. And of course, Natalia does not make it with him as she falls through the floor. But this does see, perfectly into Bond in one of his most iconic roles. I mean, not roles, iconic scenes of getting the tank. And for some reason, the video games that feature James Bond a lot of them do have a scene where he's using a tank. In the movies, James Bond only uses a tank in one time, and this is it.
Yep.
Man, there is more games that have him in a tank than on my hand. I mean,
yeah. It's that's a very video game thing, though. I don't know.
I mean, but honestly, to me, it is iconic. I mean, just Pierce Brosnan in that Russian tank. I mean, I think it's awesome.
I have to ask you guys a question. From a standpoint, or wow, I'm sorry, you guys. I have my mouth is not working today. From a fan standpoint, I love the tank scene because it's badass. Like, he's doing crazy stuff, and there's a lot of good comedic relief with the scene. From somebody who has just watched the movie, looking at it out of the box, does it take you out of it any?
It's jarring. I mean, you kind of just have to turn your brain off for this part. Don't think too much about just enjoy this scene. Because obviously there are parts of it where it doesn't, I don't think a tank can run through walls like plywood, like it does. But and I don't think tanks can drive as fast as he's able to do in this. But
he was out there drifting that tank.
I know, and there's no way you should have a chase scene with the tank where the tank actually keeps up realistically.
So I talk about this series checking boxes a lot, and in most cases I don't mind. Sometimes those boxes kind of have to be checked for it to be a Bond movie. You kind of need a ridiculous set piece or a ridiculous chase scene in these movies. And as outlandish as it is, it's kind of like what you said, Brent. If you can turn your brain off for just a few minutes, don't think about how the secret agent is causing an international something by stealing a tank and then destroying St. Petersburg. That's a lot. That's a lot of tax dollars.
I say turn your brain off. I did actually have notes. All the walls are made of paper. And the other note I have is, dude, how fast is this tank? Those are the only two notes I made. But
Dominic Toretto was actually on set. He worked.
It's not about how fast the tank is. It's about how you drive it. Okay.
It's about the family in the tank.
But I did want to say something about the belt scene, because he does ask Q. Q says with the belt, "This can hold up. We've tested this. It can hold up your weight." And he's like, "What if there's extra weight?" And Q's basically like, "Don't do that."
Yeah.
So, hey, lucky he didn't have to try it with the extra weight.
So I wonder what would have happened if Natalia didn't fall to the floor.
They'd have both fell and the movie'd have been over.
Yeah.
So the maximum speed for the tank that they're using in the movie, which is a T-54 and T-55 tank, respectively, for different scenes, is 32 miles an hour.
Well, that's enough to get a little sideways, I guess.
It works. Okay, knowing that does kind of work watching this scene because they're having to maneuver through traffic in these tight corners and tight streets. I mean,
the only part that I really I just don't buy is when he literally just runs through that apartment block, I just think
Yeah.
there'd be a little bit more resistance from the
Yeah,
walls.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
can I
Well, even the very first scene with the tank, he just
goes
goes
right through a wall?
Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought that up. That might be my favorite shot in a Bond movie.
I mean, it is a great shot.
That car, going down the road and Bond in a tank crashing through that brick wall. Like, I don't know.
The whole scene, the whole chase is made better by every time you see Ormov taking a swig of his
Yeah.
flask.
And also I love when Ormov's like, use the bumper. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
Just running over
As if-
people. Like,
As if the movie hadn't made it clear that this guy's a piece of shit.
yes.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
I got two things I want to mention. So Brent brought the belt back up. I would just love to say Caleb says that scene reminds him a lot of Die Hard. Like I get the Die Hard vibes because of the belt scene. I get indie vibes like big time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just like him swinging on that. So
Yeah.
like this does a good job of setting the action adventure pace. And again, it's because Martin Campbell does good action scenes. You're right, Caleb. And I would also like to bring up, I didn't have a problem with the tank driving through buildings that much. Maybe at the speed and how easy it did it. My problem was the stupid statue on top of the tank.
Yeah.
Driving
I
down
forgot
like
about
there's
that
a
part.
cake topper on top of it.
Yeah.
Like
Hey,
it's
look,
been on there for way too long.
To this movie's credit, it has not had a lot of gags, I think. The only one that I can think of is the sandwich and Jack Wade hitting his car with a
Like just the whole
A
character
hammer.
of Jack Wade.
Well, and
What's that?
Boris with the passcodes.
yeah.
And the knockers.
Knockers.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get too far from this from the belt scene, actually, I want to ask y'all, who did it better, Pierce Brosnan or Roger Moore?
Pierce.
Okay.
Pierce.
You talking about the Tarzan scene?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'd pick Pierce Brosnan.
Okay, good.
I'll pick Pierce because I haven't seen the other one.
Well,
So
don't watch the other ones.
okay.
We'll send you a link.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I love Octopussy. I just think that Pierce Brosnan pulls this off. It's a lot more believable than James Bond swinging on a vine. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes, I agree. That's
So-
the answer I wanted.
but so after this, well, I mean, I do want to stop and say Perrier got its sponsorship here.
Yeah,
Even though they
worse
got
than the
blown
7
up.
Up.
Go ahead. What?
It's worse than the 7 Up sponsorship, I think.
Yeah.
Is that really how they transport those cans exposed like that?
I really doubt
And
it.
empty.
I doubt it too.
And empty.
And empty. Yeah,
They
I
were
was
empty.
actually going to mention that too.
Yeah, there would have been water everywhere. Like you
Yeah.
know, that nice Brioni suit that Bond's wearing would be full of
Which
carbonated water right now.
He never fires the tank, right? He doesn't.
He does. Yeah.
That's
rubber-
right. Yes. Okay. I was about to
Right.
say because you can't drive the tank and fire it because that would take two people. So
Yeah.
he never does that. So okay, good on that.
Bond
um,
should have totally like picked up one of those cans and just downed that shit.
God, I'm
Like-
so thirsty.
Oh, what is this? Have you
And
guys
then
ever
he
got
opens
there?
it and it's empty, and he's like, "What?" We got to talk about Bond straightening his tie.
So
Classic Bond.
it's hilarious seeing him straighten his tie. Also, I want to say I know I just like dogged this scene really hard. I love this movie. Just so people don't think I'm like trashing it. I'm just pointing things out just because we're discussing it from like a review
Yeah.
standpoint. I don't want anybody to think I don't like Goldeneye. Just to clarify that in this section of because this is part 2, and I haven't premised that yet. Like I love the movie. If anything I talk sort of negatively about, it's not negative. It's just reviewable.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. We're dissecting the movie.
Yeah, I just
Oh.
didn't want you guys to think, man, Colton really hates Goldeneye.
No, I didn't. Dude, I expected Brent to hate this movie, honestly.
I'm glad he
Didn't hate
enjoyed it.
Didn't hate it. Did not hate it.
I'm glad to hear that. Like, that's awesome.
Yes.
We have guys, we have made a lifelong Bond fan. Look
I
at
didn't
him.
say that.
He said no.
I didn't say any of that.
So Ormov takes Natalia to the train, and of course Bond somehow stealthily uses a tank to come up on the train.
Yeah, just slowly rolls up
Yeah.
with where the barrel comes into shot.
I'm glad those soldiers
his
decided to
sneaky
quit
tank.
following him.
Well, they got crushed by the statue, didn't they?
Well, the police did, but I thought whatever. I assumed that was some government facility because of the archives that they were running through. So there was some military presence there, and you see them actually.
They go off the bridge.
Just two Jeep fulls. That's all they had.
That's all they had at the time. It was, I mean, war's over.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Cold War is done. We got to send some of these guys home.
Cold War. You remember that "Whitest Kid You Know" skit? War's done.
Rip.
Rip Trevor.
Rip Trevor.
So we get a little bit of the, the train scenes. We get Ormov coming on and Natalia being sexually harassed by Alec Trevelyan.
Yeah, Alec being very creepy here.
We didn't need that.
We didn't, but and it's weird how he calls out to it later when he talks to Bond. He's like, I know how she tastes. Like, all right, yeah, because you kind of
you forced yourself on him.
Yeah, it was kind of gross, man.
If they didn't establish he was a villain, they certainly established he's a rapist.
Yep.
Which the two things are synonymous. You don't have to be a rapist to be a villain, but if you're you know what?
I get where you were going, Colton.
I don't know why
Don't pin that on me.
All rapists are villains. Not all villains are rapists.
That's
Thank you, Brent. I could not spit that out. I got so tongue-tied.
But if you are a rapist, you're definitely a villain. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So this next scene, we get Bond using the tank cannon for what Medicine Man was talking about. Uses the cannon to derail the tank. Derail the train. Sorry, which obviously gets Xenia Onatopp a little gets her a little bit hot and bothered.
How did he beat him there?
Yeah, that's what I wondered too. That's definitely a contrivance.
Yeah,
of this movie. But
not sure how I got there first, but
yeah, we were talking about the Tiger helicopter earlier, and I was like, man, of all the contrivances in this movie, let's because first we see Bond sneaking around in a tank, and then
I wouldn't say sneaking, I'd say teleporting,
which pretty much
this is the coolest tank ever. I mean, forget the Tiger helicopter. We need to replicate this tank.
Bond just so happened to pick the Russian prototype tank that had teleportation. So the guy that's driving the train,
the conductor.
Okay. So
some might call him that.
I was just kidding. Go ahead.
The train operator, is this just some innocent guy?
I like to think he's a crook.
Okay.
I don't think he's innocent. I think he's definitely a bad guy. And
I guess I just needed to hear somebody say that.
Yeah, I don't think he's a good guy.
He's also a rapist. He's a rapist too.
Sure.
That makes him a villain.
It does, by default.
So what do y'all think about Bond getting on the train? And, this is one of my favorite scenes. He gets, 006 says, "Why can't you be a good boy and die?" And Bond says, "You first." Then he looks over at Xenia and he says, "You second." I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's an awesome line.
The delivery is perfect.
I like how he shouts up to like he ain't fucking around anymore.
Oh, he's done playing.
But dude, how can Trevelyan say that? Like, how can he say how can he ask Bond, why can't you be a good boy and die? When
You didn't.
what's that?
He's
didn't.
established he's not a good boy. He's a villain.
Well, no, I was okay. I was gonna say that like the way that he tried to kill Bond was kind of stupid. So I mean, it made for a cool scene. I'm glad he didn't just straight up point a gun at him and pull the trigger. But
So Bond is a fantastical character. They have to try to attempt to kill him in a fantastical way.
Okay.
I really like when Ormov comes in and Bond's like, Ormov, what's this Cossack promised you? Like, I mean, just
Yeah.
he's using whatever he can to try to get the upper hand in the situation. But Ormov still gets on the receiving end of some 7.62 millimeter bullets, doesn't he?
Yep.
Like he tells him, "Hey, he's gonna betray you." Then he literally betrays him.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
that is
Yes.
the quickest delivery I've ever seen.
Which the only problem I had is, well, first, how did he not know he was a Cossack if
Yeah, I
he's
know.
known him for this long? Because what's starts with a V? What's the guy's name from earlier? The Russian
Valentine?
Valentine?
Yes, yeah. Well, he knew. He said he was a Cossack then. So
Yeah.
he said he was a Cossack. How did General Ormov not know that he was a Cossack? And then he actually does stop for a minute because he's like, "Oh, is this true?
Is this
Like,
true?
is it really that big of a deal that he's a traitor to your country? Because, buddy, the ship sailed. You're a traitor to your country. Too.
Yeah.
Like,
Definitely a traitor. I mean,
I mean,
That's
I
a
guess
good
Ormov,
point.
yeah, I guess in Ormov's head, he's like, well, I'm doing this for the greater good of my country. I mean, I'm gonna rise to power, and I'm gonna bring my country and like, I'm bringing the Soviet Union back. We're gonna be the best again. So whatever betrayals I have, they're worth it in the end because I'm doing it for the greater good. But, buddy, you're
Brent,
still
that was
betraying your
amazing.
country.
Hey,
Yeah.
Brent, you just summed up Ormov's character like that is Ormov, what you just said.
Okay. Well, I was in Ormov's defense, he's clearly drunk all the time. So, and he's probably pretty busy with the space whatever. What did he say he was space
Had a
defense
space program or something like that.
yeah, space program. So like, I don't know, he doesn't have time to look into Alex's past. Come on. Yeah, that is another contrivance, I guess, but whatever.
But of course, we get Bond killing Ormov, we get Xenia and Alec Trevelyan getting away, and we get Alec saying that he gave him the same 6 minutes, which of course we know is 3 minutes.
Yep.
So like, there's a part of me that makes me feel like he didn't want Bond to really die. Why would you tell him?
And also, when did he set him?
When did he set
What?
the explosives? Or
Yeah. When did that happen?
I just assumed the train had some sort of built-in.
He just had, he just had, just in case all of the cars have explosives in them. And
Boris.
they're all set to 3-minute timers because I know this is going to come up.
He
I mean,
it's the timer.
As a Bond villain, that is something that you kind of inevitably have to prepare for.
Yeah, that's true.
So I want to say this. How daft do you have to be to not know that a 5-letter word for something you sit on but can't take it with you? How do you not know that's chair? I mean, seriously.
Look,
I guess, well, they set it up where she's trying to think of all these things that's like pervy. Also, though, all the words she's typing are 4 letters.
Yes.
That was my big issue with it. Why is she typing 4-letter words when she saw
I did not notice that.
Like, she types like knob and all this stuff that's
Arse.
4 letters, and I'm like, yeah, you saw it was 5 letters. But that was my big problem with it. I get why she's doing it because she's like, oh, it's a riddle. It's something perverted because it's Boris. And then Bond's like, no, it's just chair.
Chair.
But
English isn't her first language.
See, Caleb, that's what I've actually used to explain this because I mean, these are the things I'm laying in bed at night and I'm like, how in the hell can she not know it's chair? It's English is not her first language, and for some reason,
That's all I've got.
and for some reason, her and Boris were talking English to each other in Russia at the beginning of the movie.
Man.
Whatever, like.
Do you know how hard?
Luckily, all the Russians speak English in this.
God.
So
Do you know how hard it has been for me not to bring that up? I've wanted to bring that up so many times.
well, now there we go.
All
It's
right.
out in the open now.
One more video game reference, and I promise I'll stop.
Go ahead.
This part.
Plenty of movie left for you to make more. But
This part where you have to use the god awful aiming mechanics in Goldeneye 64 to try and laser watch this hatch open is so hard. I do not. So I play it on the Switch now, and I play this level. I am still stuck on this level on the Switch because I cannot open this stupid hatch with the shitty aiming mechanics.
So I have the GoldenEye game. Well, of course, I've got it on N64 and I have it on Xbox One. My wife has a Switch, but I just haven't bought it for the Switch. But I
You
mean,
have it on Xbox
I have
One?
no trouble on Xbox One with it.
Wait, you have. There's a GoldenEye 64 port for Xbox One.
Yes, it came out the same time the one for Switch did.
Is it on PlayStation also?
No, it's only on Xbox One and Nintendo Switch.
Are you serious?
I'm serious as a heart attack.
Okay.
Well, I guess I'm glad I have an Xbox One. I'm gonna go download that.
I do not.
Well,
I just bought a PS5.
Well, you can probably get Xbox One for like $70, man.
just that we're on the subject of the GoldenEye game, this whole sequence in the game, Alec Trevelyan only gives you 1 minute to do this instead of the 3 minutes that he gives in the movies.
Yeah, that's why it's so damn hard.
It's because he's a villain.
I bet that is a lot easier on Xbox.
Yeah, it
they
is.
actually give you 3 minutes on Xbox.
What if they did?
Um,
Oh, Jesus.
so we do see Bond's laser watch here, and I know we have not went over this movie, but Bond actually got a laser watch in the unofficial, meaning non-Eon James Bond movie, Never Say Never Again, before he did in the actual Eon series. So you could almost say that this movie is kind of, not ripping off, but maybe being influenced by Never Say Never Again a little bit because
Let's call it paying homage.
yeah, paying homage, yeah, most definitely. So they cut their way out. Natalia figures out that Boris is in Cuba, and they run out of the train while it blows up, and we get a little bit of Bond and Natalia, making good on some feelings, making out in the middle of Russia.
She was instantly horny.
Yeah.
Like, ridiculously.
I mean, that was a
Maybe she has the same sort of condition that Xenia has.
I mean, that's a near-death experience, boys. You got to let off some steam somehow, eh?
She's wanting to get busy, and I would be like, can I go see a therapist first? Because I'm traumatized.
So, next scene, we are in Cuba, or as John F. Kennedy would call it, Cuba. And Bond is driving his, we haven't even talked about this car. Bond is driving his.
We did a little bit. Yeah, we
BMW Z3, or as the British people would call it, Z3.
So is this the same car? Is this the same car they've got in Gatlinburg, John?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you've seen it, right? In person? Caleb, you have, right?
I have, yes, yeah.
Okay. So two of us have seen it in person. I'm sorry, John. You'll go there. You're right.
Well, I was going to reiterate what we said about it in the first part, that they really set this car up as if it's going to be a big a part of a big action set piece, and it just like never happens.
Yeah, we never do get to see those bloody Stinger missiles, do we?
No.
This movie promises a lot and delivers almost all of it, except for those Stinger missiles.
One thing I do want to say about the Brosnan era. So, 3 of the Brosnan movies, we get Bond on BMW vehicles. And I say
Yeah.
vehicles because one of them is not a car and one of them is a motorcycle. Whenever I was a little boy, of course, this was when the Brosnan era was, the main
Yeah.
Bond movies. I just always thought of BMWs as James Bond's car. I know a lot of people hate that Bond drove a BMW, but as a kid, I mean, I loved it when I saw a BMW driving down the street because hey, that was James Bond's car driving by.
I don't hate this one.
Yeah.
But because it looks kind of sporty. The one in Tomorrow Never Dies just looks like a sedan.
It does.
I don't like that one.
The one in Tomorrow Never Dies, man. It more than pays its way in with the gadgets.
Oh yeah, no, the gadgets on it, if that's what you're referring to, are great.
Yes,
that's awesome. But it just looks like something a lawyer would drive, dude.
Yes, it does look like a lawyer or maybe just a regular upper middle class family car.
However, if you are going for realism, then it makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So, I do hate that we never really got to see any of the gadgets.
Well, from what I've read, it was supposed to. I mean, the reason why we didn't really get a scene with it is because we had already got the tank chase, and that was enough of a. We also got the Aston Martin chase too.
A better vehicle in the movie.
But I mean, it is what it is. And I want to say this: do you guys know what the Nintendo console, the Virtual Boy, is? Have y'all ever heard of it?
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Originally, there was a James Bond game, Goldeneye, for that system.
Really?
And it was going to be a driving game.
Huh.
Imagine we would get to control that and use its gadgets in the game. Look it up after we get off this pod.
So Virtual Boy. Just spelled like it sounds, I assume.
I think so, yes.
Okay.
So while Caleb's doing that, John, I would like to. I know we're not on that podcast yet, but you guys mentioned the sedan BMW from Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think the reason they use the sedan is because of the building scene. It's way cheaper to do what they did to a sedan than any other. Like it would be more costly for a sportier car.
Well, I think that was sort of the case with this car. Maybe not exactly, but I think some of it has to do with what Jonathan said. We've already got like 2 car chases, and I want to say I either read or watched something about this car was a prototype, the one that's in the movie, and they didn't have access to like multiple cars to basically gut and put, props in. So
right. And usually prototypes aren't like they have minimal functionality anyway. Like
yes,
you're barely good enough to drive.
They're not mass produced. There might be a handful. So
something else I do want to say about this. So I know Colton and Caleb, I know you've both seen The World Is Not Enough. Brent, I know you haven't. I'm not going to spoil much whenever I say this, but you guys remember the helicopters with the saw blades on it, right?
Yes, that was supposed to be in this.
That was supposed to be in this movie.
Yeah.
We of course do get that later on in The World Is Not Enough, and it's awesome in that movie. I just wanted to highlight the fact that it was going to be here. We also get Mr. Jack Wade coming in, and guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. I wish Jack Wade was around for more Bond movies. I mean, I
do too.
I like him, man.
I mentioned it back when we were watching the Roger Moore movies that I was missing Felix.
Yeah.
But it kind of made room for other allies, and that's the case here. Like, yeah, he's not Felix, but
This is
I
like
love Jack Wade. What'd you say?
This is like Felix Leiter V2.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this one's got legs.
Yeah.
So
Pretty much Bond switches out his BMW Z3 for a what is this? This is a Cessna. Is that what this is? Medicine Man.
I think it's
is
muted.
Brent muted?
Oh, Emma.
I know
No, you're good. Is
Uh,
this the same plane from the pre-title sequence?
It looks like the same plane, but I didn't look at it. It would
Remember
make
saying he
sense
got
from
it
the
from
money
a-
aspect.
from a drug dealer. So, because he got it from the DEA. So that.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Hey, Brent.
Yeah.
Well, can you move your mic a little closer?
Yes. Is that better?
You're still kind of quiet.
Well, I don't know. Okay. Is that better? Well,
You know, I'm being. Is he quiet to y'all? Or
It's kind of like toned down. I don't know what happened.
yeah, I don't either.
I haven't done anything with it. Testing.
So anyway,
I haven't been able to find anything on the plane,
That's all
John.
good.
Sorry.
So anyway, moving on, we get Bond and Natalia, having a little bit of a moment to themselves in Cuba. And Natalia wants Bond to pretty much stop all this, and Bond's like, no, because that's what keeps me alive. And she's like, no, that's what keeps you alone. So we get a little bit of a more love sequence than we usually do in these Bond movies. But anyway, that quickly goes right back into to being a Bond movie, and we get them flying around. And just when they're about to give up, they get blown out of the sky, and they wind up in the jungle, in which Mr. Caleb, and I don't know about you, Colton, but Caleb definitely remembers this level from the game.
This is where you get the AR.
The AR-33.
Yeah.
That's what the
This is
game
what
calls it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Bond's fixing to dual wield some an AR-33 and a C3P90 and just go to town.
Man, this movie scene, like I think I maybe played the game first because
I definitely did.
I remember watching this movie scene, and I'm like, where are all those dudes that they kill? And like, why is Natalia not shooting?
You can say that about every set piece in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
there's about 30 minutes missing here.
Yeah, but yeah, we get Bond having his fight with Xenia on a top, and she always did enjoy a good squeeze.
I don't think he got a laugh for that one either. Tough crowd, man.
Yeah. It's
Well, Natalia's probably just appalled at how much Bond just takes this stuff as like regular occurrences,
Yeah. Go ahead, Brent.
okay. I turn my mic up. Is that better?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. All right. I did want to go back to okay, so when they're one thing that did bother me when they're like, in bed, right after the beach scene, and in the train scene, Alec threatens to kill her, and he says, "Go ahead. She doesn't mean anything to me." And when they're in this scene, she's like, "Were you serious? Did I really not mean anything to you?" I had to pause it right there and be like, "Man, you guys have known each other for like 5 minutes at this point. Like, literally, they have not talked at all. It went straight from the plane. They were in the helicopter. They got captured. They got interrogated. She got taken to the train right after that. Like, at what point was she supposed to mean anything to him?
Well, here's the thing. Bond is a sociopath. So when she asked did you mean that? That I mean nothing to you? And Bond says, yes. She thinks he's joking. He's not. Like,
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
then he says, always call their bluff. Like, well, I mean, it wasn't a
Yeah.
bluff. They were really
Yeah.
gonna kill her. But all right. But yeah, that part just bothered me. I was like, really? Like, I know you apparently fell in love with him really quick, but I don't know why you expected to mean anything to him at this point in the film.
well, it's from the writer's perspective. This is what I said in the first part. Like, they're just they had to check that box. That's what that is. I wanted to go back to this scene too, the beach scene in particular. I talked a little bit about the lighting and the cinematography, and I said I wasn't gonna talk about it anymore, but I'm a liar. So, uh, dude, did you guys notice how this scene was lit? Like when you get that wide shot of the beach, the orange sky in the background, dude, that is such a pretty shot.
Yeah.
And I'm done.
Why are they on? I mean, but why are they just hanging on the beach though? Maybe I missed something. But isn't time of the essence here? What are they?
Bond is sulking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He needed salt. He needed salt time. Gotcha. Yeah.
If you were to look through the props, on his mission briefing it says sulk on the beach,
Gotcha.
and
All right.
he's just doing that part of the mission.
That
So-
makes sense.
Also, from a realistic standpoint, Bond knows he's probably about to die, so
Yeah.
have sex.
Oh, okay.
True. That's true. But one, they've already done that too. He's not even having. He's just sitting on the beach. She walks up to him like he's just kind of just looking out over the ocean.
Do
She
they not
wants
have
some-
sex after this too?
Yeah, they do again. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she wants some more. That's why she's
Yeah. Because he means so much to her.
So, also, like as a nice callback, I get, was it For Your Eyes Only? Was that the other beach scene?
yeah.
Yeah, I get For Your Eyes Only vibes from this. So
That's
that
fair.
was nice, I think.
Yeah, I just like you guys noticed that shot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll
Which
shut up.
shot? Which shot?
Shut up.
Which shot?
Really? It's when it's like this establishing shot of the beach.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I thought it was really
I thought you meant when she walked up and her crotch is like right in the shot.
I mean, nothing was wrong with that either.
No, I mean-
there's
Yeah.
something to be said about that shot too.
Setting the tone.
But yeah, and then the fight scene that was fun. Whenever he fights Xenia for the
Oh.
last time.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, what was I gonna say about Oh, she tries to do her move again. With that, there is no way you can do that standing up with that kind of pressure. Like, but
Yeah.
okay, fine, whatever. That's not possible, but sure.
Well, she was probably just like she wanted to get one more in because like she brought an AK with her, so
That's true.
she's probably she was planning to shoot Bond and Natalia. But with that being said, Bond grabs the AK and he chooses to shoot the helicopter that she's attached to, just to give her a gruesome death. Like I thought that was
A little bit of sadism.
yeah, it was impractical, but it was
rightly deserved. She did.
sure.
He
Oh
did.
yeah, no, I'm not arguing that.
Oh, most definitely. So, anything left to say about the beautiful Famke Janssen as Xenia Onatopp?
She always did enjoy a good squeeze.
They always did enjoy a good squeeze.
I think she's a great henchman, honestly.
Most definitely. I want to say this. Who all in here has seen Never Say Never Again? Okay, I truly believe that the character of Fatima Blush had to influence Xenia Onatopp. I mean, just had to be.
Didn't I bring that up in Thunderball?
You might have.
I think I said that in Thunderball. I've always thought the same thing.
Like, she is just way too over the top about everything. Got to be a little bit of influence there.
Yeah, the only thing Xenia is missing is a snake, I think.
Yeah,
Because didn't she
she did
have? Yeah, okay.
a snake
She was over the top, even on a top.
on a top. I like that. Good job.
If she,
Good
if
job,
only
Brandon.
she could have gone over the top of that tree, she would have been okay.
So moving on, we get Bond and Natalia finding the dish, which just a year or two back, that actual dish failed, did it not? In real life?
Yeah, something like that. I
Yeah.
remember. Yeah,
But anyway, they find the dish and they are attacked by, Trevelyan's men, and they slide down it and wind up finding their way into the what do we call it? The bunker, in the game they call it the control, but what do we call it in the movie? Trevelyan's bunker?
yeah. This is his lair.
Yes.
Like,
And
yeah,
we are told that it's a duplicate of the one in Severnaya, so it's basically like a double.
yeah,
And the way I've always thought was maybe this is just like a holdover from the Soviet Union days, because Cuba was
Yeah.
an ally of the Soviet Union. Maybe kind of like the Cuban Missile Crisis. Maybe the Soviets made a Goldeneye bunker in Cuba too. I think it
yeah.
makes sense. I mean,
That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
yes.
Well, okay, that's one thing I had a question about, because I was like, well, okay, so Severnaya, they it was manned by Russian
Yeah.
military and was overseen by the it had its own commander and everything in charge of it. This one, who are these people? Is this just all Janice's people, or who is in control of this bunker? Where did it come from? Why did it
So, just to answer your question, and this is just the way I view it, Brent. I definitely think these people are Giannis's people.
Yeah.
Of course, at the end of the Soviet Union, a lot of things went missing in real life.
yeah.
Weapons, a lot of tanks, a lot of nuclear weapons just went missing because people just basically there was so much, high levels of corruption, and the way I've always just viewed this as, well, Giannis somehow just got this bunker and that was it. He just staffed it with his own, egghead scientist, and that's
Yeah.
That makes sense. I can
Yeah. I mean,
I can go for that.
What the way that he captured Boris, I'm sure he just
got all
did
those
the same
other
thing for
people.
for all those people. But I love this set, man.
Me
It
too.
is so awesome.
Me too. And I love that the mines that Bond puts up are the same mines from the game.
They look just like the ones in the game, and like I don't know, man. They just maybe it's because I remember wanting like one of these when I was a kid, like to play with, but they just look so cool.
On Etsy, you can
No
buy
way.
a prop of that. Dude, we have
Oh
to buy
man,
props of that.
that would look
Yes.
great back
It looks good
there.
in my bar too, man. Like,
I'm surprised you don't have one.
I'm surprised I don't either. I need that, and I need the damn Solex agitator from the Man with the Golden Gun and the Moonraker laser. That's three
Yep.
things I need. But
So I'd like to say one thing about the set, if that's cool. So, like, you guys know when they're driving, they're flying the plane over the lake looking for it.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice like how oily the water was?
No, I didn't.
Next time you watch the movie, it's just like something I saw. Just pay
Yeah.
attention to like the different layers of like the oil on the water. I don't know if it's like the sunshine reflected on it a certain way or what. And then the other thing is, whenever they're draining it for the dish,
Yeah.
it looks like they filled it up in reverse.
Oh, yeah, it's clearly
yes,
that's
yes.
reverse footage. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was just me. Like I
Yeah.
didn't know if it was just me noticing or what. So I'm glad I wasn't the only one that noticed it. So
Yeah, it's very clearly reversed.
yeah,
footage.
it really
Yeah.
messed with my head. I was like, I wanted to make sure it wasn't just me.
Um, I If this was a Roger Moore movie, I feel like they would have put like a toilet flushing sound here. um,
Fair enough.
but I don't know if Jonathan can hear me. I wanted to ask him this question too, but I'll go ahead and ask it. So if we are, the series has not been rebooted yet. Like this is the same Bond from Dr. No. So it's really naive of him to think that after one pass over that pond or lake or whatever, that there's nothing there. Dude, do you not remember the volcano layer? Like,
Yes. Yes.
Which he still wouldn't have found it if they didn't shoot a missile at him.
true. That's yeah.
Alex wanted him to find him, dude. That's
Yeah,
how
it's-
kink.
Well,
It's like-
also it was probably like, okay, we're gonna have to come up out of the water in a minute, so let's
Well,
try
shoot.
to.
Yeah, swap this fly.
Yeah, because we kind of have to come out of the water here for this part.
Yeah, dude, I've been holding my breath for like 5 minutes. Can we please go up?
Caleb, did you have something to ask me?
Yeah, did you hear my question or no?
I did not.
Okay, so this is the same Bond from Dr. No, right?
Yes.
So wouldn't you agree that it's kind of naive that he
Yeah,
was just
I
fixing to
mean-
give up? Okay.
Yeah, like, but of course that's just for the plot of the movie. Of course.
Oh yeah. I was just
So one gadget that we've not talked about is, of course, the pen, and we see Boris doing his little thing, fidgeting with his pen, and I do love that. Well, first thing I want to say, I love how Bond and Alec Trevelyan have almost the same watch because
Yep.
he's kept his MI6 watch. And he even
Mhm.
says, how is old Q? I love that right there. I'm glad they put that in
what does
there.
he say, up to his usual
Yeah,
schemes
something
or
like
something?
that.
Yeah.
And,
Speaking of watches, one little detail we sort of didn't mention, Bond like proves that he knows who Natalia is because he grabs her wrist and is like,
Yes.
look, your watch is dead from the EMP blast. I
Yeah.
know you were there. So
frozen by the Goldeneye blast.
I thought that was a cool detail.
Why is she still wearing it then?
Uh,
It's probably sentimental. That's
well-
what I
what I figured is she was just so wrapped up in what she was doing, and she probably didn't even think to look at her watch. Is the way I always thought about it.
probably. Yeah.
But I do want to mention, so before they get captured, he sets off the he sets the mines. He also stabs the fuel tanks, and they're still going, and they don't address the
Yeah, I mean, there's
the,
The fuel, yeah, the
the
diesel
fuel is just
run
leaking,
everywhere.
and they're just like, that's not a big deal. This is,
Hey,
it's
uh,
Nobody light a cigarette.
yeah,
We're cool.
we're fine. It's not a big deal.
But I do like how Bond is pretty much just gambling on the fact that the three clicks has happened whenever he kicks it out of Boris's hand.
I don't think he's gambling. I think he's counting each
Yeah,
time.
that's
Like,
what
I
I took because you keep
yeah.
getting these shots of his
of
eyes,
him
like-
watching. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
counting it. He's waiting for him to do it.
So I'm gonna say what Caleb usually says here, just to do a callback to some of our earlier videos. Bond is autistic, and he's definitely.
dang it, you beat me to it.
I'm
you know,
sorry, Dad.
okay. You know where I meant to bring it up?
Where?
The train scene where Alex is like, "Why can't you just be a good boy and die?" And Bond's like, "No, you first, and then you second, and then you third, and Like,
me
this-
fifth.
it just seems like a really autistic thing. Like, I don't know. It's based on height, maybe.
We've got to watch The Accountant after this.
Yeah,
I've seen that movie. It's okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna say this sequence in the game is one of my least favorite levels. Guys,
Natalia, she's an idiot, dude.
I
Like-
beat this on 00 Agent, and it was literally hard as hell. I mean, it was
Yeah.
hard. Like,
She just like, so what happens is she's doing something on the computer. She's trying to disable the GoldenEye satellite. And there's guys coming from both sides of this big room down these staircases, and they're also blowing up the windows at the bottom, and they're coming out of there. So you've got these 4 points that you're trying to like shoot these guys, and it's impossible because Natalia has like one bar of health, I guess, and I don't know. It's just it's hard for the sake of being hard.
Yes, it is. It's actually pretty easy until the dudes start blowing through the windows. That's
Yes.
when
Yeah.
because like there's actually a way that you can do the dudes that are coming down the stairs. That's not a problem, but
Yeah, right.
it's when the dudes start breaking through the windows because you don't know where they're going to be. That's the only thing.
And yeah, and it's been a while since I played that level, but I'm almost certain that it's RNG. Like, there's no way to memorize the
Yes.
pattern.
I think it is too.
Um,
Yeah.
But one thing I do wish Bond would have known to do in the movie, if he would have like gone upstairs, there's body armor in that vent that he could have used, and he wouldn't have been so banged up
Yeah.
by the end of the movie.
So anyway, Bond pretty much they get in the elevator, and I like how Bond gives her a Makarov, the Russian
Yep.
gun, and we kind of see that Natalia is a little bit, she knows how to take care of herself.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm all about a woman not being a damsel in distress. I dig it. So what do you think about the Bond and Trevelyan fight? We get Trevelyan shooting at him with the AK quite a bit, and Bond running away from it. Then they do a little bit of fist fighting, and
does Bond wound him here with does he actually shoot him at one point because he's tracking him? Like Alec is leaving blood, so but it's never explicitly shown that he's shot.
I think it might be a ricochet. He might get him with a ricochet.
Sure, yeah. But the fight, dude, this fight's brutal, man.
very good fight. I mean, I think they did a good job, choreographing the fight. The way Brosnan's taking he's blocking the hits.
This is another scene where Brosnan is doing some like odd vocalization, which I mean I can't say much. I would probably be making some weird shit too if Sean Bean was beating the shit out of me, but like so I love the soundtrack in this movie, but this fight not having any music behind it is perfect.
Yes.
It just adds to the realism, I guess, or the brutality. I don't know. All you hear is them just beating each other, and it's brutal. However, while they are running, I'll call it the cradle. While they're running across the cradle, I would have taken that track from the Goldeneye 64 level. I love that track in that level. Yeah.
Man, that soundtrack, every one of
dude,
songs are good.
It's so good. Like
Yeah.
it did not have to go that hard.
Not at all, but it did. It did it for us.
It did.
And so, Brent, would you like to add anything to Bond's final showdown, settling the score with 006?
Yeah, I had in my notes, I was like, this fight scene was shot so well. Like the different angles they used for it, I thought they were really good. And it's honestly, I mean, one of the best shot fight scenes I've seen from the 90s for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Dude.
I mean, it's better than a lot of them that are shot today. So,
yeah. Well, this is a huge improvement from just, I don't know, 20 years ago in the Bond franchise. The hand-to-hand combat, which the bar was not very high back in the 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
So, but this has improved a lot. I'm trying to think. I don't think we got a lot of hand-to-hand stuff in License to Kill or The Living Daylights. Is that fair? So
I agree.
So what comes to my mind is A View to a Kill. So big improvement there.
When I was looking at it, when I was seeing what other people said on it, because I looked up what other people thought of the fight scene after, and they said that it was basically, this was one of the first times that it felt like
Real.
Bond. Well, that Bond was fighting somebody that was equal to him.
Oh yeah.
Um, that there was an extended fight scene with somebody who it felt like was equal skill to Bond, and I mean, they did a good job of that.
Yeah, you definitely get that feel. Like he is trained just like Bond. So
Right.
I want to say this. I think this is one of the first fight scenes that Bond has that, to me, looks like Bond is he is a martial arts expert. Like he is trained,
Yeah.
to do this stuff. Because I mean, I love Roger Moore. I love Sir Roger quite a bit. But man, watching the man with the golden gun, you remember that one scene whenever he's at the martial arts school?
With the
I mean,
ninjas.
those dudes, could take him. But like, I mean, in reality, Bond should be able to hold his own up against.
Well, here's what I think happened. So after that, Bond finishes the mission, goes back to MI6, and is like, well, I gotta have some martial arts.
Yeah, I've
got
gotta
my
try.
ass handed to me by these people in what were they? Taiwan? Is that where they're at? Thailand. Sorry, yeah. So,
but yeah, like I am glad that you guys agree with me on the fight scene. That's awesome. I like this fight scene quite a bit. And of course we get them going down the ladder and fighting each other on. I mean, I hope none of y'all are afraid of heights, because this scene right here, it's it's pretty scary looking. And of course we get the very famous "For England, James," and Bond says no for me. And I want to point out this. Now, on part one of this, I was talking about the John Gardner novelization of the movie. That is not on there. I mean, that is not in the book. In the book, 006 actually is like, Bond, come on, pull me up. Like he's not "For England, James." It's just like he's actually appealing to Bond, like, hey, please pull me up. Like, and of course, Bond lets him fall, just like in the movie.
Mm.
But
I like this better. I haven't read the book.
Hell yes, I do too.
But like it's for me, it's better when Alec has pretty much. He's like he knows Bond is not going to change his mind at this point.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of. I mean, I don't like that. Yeah, the novelization, what you just described, doesn't sound like his character at all. I mean, he was a secret, like he was 006 for how many years now? He's living on the edge of death every day.
Yeah.
Like he's not gonna, and this is his enemy. He knows this is his enemy. He would never try to appeal to him to like.
Yeah, you're right.
So one thing I do want to say about the novelization, and this is going to be the last time I talk about it. So out of all the James Bond novelizations, I do believe that Goldeneye is the weakest. And that's not to say anything about Gardner, because, I mean, I think Colton and Caleb both know I'm a big John Gardner fan. I mean, anybody that knows me knows I'm a John Gardner, James Bond fan. But, like, it is just so much like somebody read the script for the movie and then just translated that into a book. Usually the novelizations of Bond add in parts that weren't in the movie. Like Gardner's License to Kill novelization did that, and it was good. And like, if you go to the James Bond wiki, I actually got on there and wrote stuff on that wiki about the License to Kill novelization. So I contributed to it. I mean, because I like it so much. But the Goldeneye one, man, it's just
so it doesn't really build on anything. Like it doesn't flesh things out.
I mean, maybe a little bit in a few scenes, but a lot of it is just, by numbers, the movie. Like, I mean, it's just now.
So John,
go ahead. What?
So when did the novelization drop for Goldeneye? Was it the same time the movie was in theaters, or was it like a year later?
I really do not know. Either Caleb or Medicine Man, look that up for us, eh?
So
on it.
The reason I'm asking is because whenever a film franchise or a studio is having a big shakeup, sometimes they don't want people to take a lot of liberties, just because they don't want to like use ideas within material that they could use in future films or muddle the continuity.
Yeah.
So what I think what could have possibly happened around the time of Goldeneye is they might not have wanted to do too many things and set up too many plot threads that weren't going to be touched on in the next movie. And that might have been what it was, because a similar thing happened with some of the DC Comics movies novelizations within the past few years, which is understandable considering the hellhole that went on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
The
just
stuff went on with all that. So
Yeah, so it was released at the same time.
okay.
The novel was released. Well, it was published November 1st, 1995, and the movie was released in the same month. So I don't, not necessarily. I don't know if it was actually a release date. I can't find the actual release date. I just have the publishing date. So I would say same time.
Now, that being said, guys, I mean, if you are on a James Bond, reading marathon and you want to read all the James Bond stuff, I mean, go ahead and read it. It's not bad. It's just, and there is a few scenes that are different from the movie. So, I mean, if you're a completionist like I am, read it. But like, I wouldn't say it's essential. But I mean, that being said, I'm a Gardner fan, and I just read all of his stuff. So,
Yeah, I won't be reading it.
well, I didn't figure you would. I was thinking Colton might, because I know he's.
I'll probably read it on my read through.
Yeah.
I've been in a reading slog, man. Like, I've got a backlog like you wouldn't believe.
But so we get the death of 006, and we get
Not from the fall, though. Not from the fall.
Not from the fall.
He survives that somehow, which I was like, okay, that's a really high fall to be surviving, but all right.
I even though, yeah, it is kind of unbelievable that he lived. I love the fact that we actually get to see the body hit the ground, because most time, especially in these movies, when you see somebody fall from a height like that, they just cut, and they could just still be falling for all you know. So,
of course, we get Natalia, who has hijacked a gunship and comes and picks up Bond, or Bond jumps onto the helicopter, and they're led off into the Cuban wilderness, and only to find out that the Marines are there.
Yep.
And they go for some well-deserved R&R at Guantanamo Bay, ending our movie with the Experience of Love, which is still like probably the worst Bond song ever.
I've heard the first few notes of that song. I've just never really willed the strength to power through it, because it just sounds bad.
It's terrible. So one thing I do want to point out, and I know I've talked several times about the novelization, but I actually have something else here, which is the comic book of Goldeneye. And I know it's glaring on my screen. I'm trying to show you the best picture. So this was by Topps Comics, and Colton, isn't Topps the same company that made baseball cards?
Yeah, they made a lot of trading cards and
Yeah.
all type of stuff.
So they actually were supposed to make three different, three GoldenEye comics, but they only made one. And I've heard it was because the cover of the second issue, which had Xenia on top of Bond, they said it was a little bit too risque, so it never got made. I think you can go to comicsroyale.com and actually see the rest of that comic. I think he has that on there. And by the way, if nobody in here has went to that site, you need to go there, because that guy is awesome. I've actually spoke to him a few times on Facebook and email and whatnot, and he's an awesome dude. Pretty much Comics Royale is this it's a site where it takes all the like foreign language Bond comics, and this dude translates them. I mean, it is awesome. Him and the man that I mentioned in the License to Kill podcast, Mark Edlitz, I think they're two of the guys that are doing the most for the Bond community. Most definitely.
So is Gardner still writing books or no?
Mr. Gardner is actually dead.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So no, he's not.
Yeah, he is not writing
Okay.
books anymore, my boy.
Okay.
But Mr. Raymond Benson, the man that took over after John Gardner, he is alive. I've actually met him, and he's a awesome man. He actually handled me being very, very starstruck. He handled that pretty well.
Oh, cool.
And I will be bringing up Raymond Benson the next pod because we'll be going over Tomorrow Never Dies, and Raymond Benson did a novelization of that, and it is awesome.
Man.
And it is a must read.
So I followed Raymond Benson on Twitter, and he seems so nice, man.
Dude, he's awesome, man. Like seriously.
He really seems nice. Like I've only read 1.5 of his books, and like it almost makes me want to meet him. So,
well, hey, dude, I'm telling you, this year is the 60th anniversary of Goldfinger, and last year was the 60th anniversary of From Russia with Love, and they had a thing in Chicago where Raymond Benson was there. If they do that this year, you could meet him in Chicago.
Bro, let me know when if you want to go.
I mean, or dude, I mean, if he's doing it, I'm definitely going.
Well, let me know. I mean, I don't know how much it cost and how much a plane ticket would be, but like we could go.
Oh, we drove, bro.
Yeah, you can drive. I mean, Chicago's only like it's like an 8-hour drive.
Yeah, it's
well, that's not as far as I thought it was, but
like I don't even know if it's 8 hours. Maybe like was it 6.5 hours? Maybe.
Yeah, it's 6.5 or 7. I went to a wedding in Chicago once, and I drove.
About like driving to the beach.
Yeah. Well, hold up. It's 6 hours from me, and I'm in Martin, so it would be like 8 hours from y'all. You're right. Sorry, Brent. You're right.
So I'm gonna sound like a wimp, but I hate car rides, guys. I get super car sick, and if I'm driving, I'm narcoleptic.
Dang, son.
Yeah, I'll be falling asleep driving.
Plane tickets probably wouldn't be that bad anyways, but
well,
if far enough ahead.
I've never flown in a real plane. I've only flown,
really.
I've flown in a 3-man plane. That's it.
Oh,
Did you fly in the plane in this movie?
Well, it was a plane a lot like the plane in this movie. Grant Johnson, a guy we went to school with, he took me up in his plane.
I know. Yeah.
He's talking about short Grant.
Okay, I was about to say, when did he have a plane?
Yeah, no.
I was so confused. I started to say, "Oh yeah, Grant," and then I was.
I forgot he was a pilot.
Shout out to Grant Johnson.
Hey, Grant Johnson, thanks for taking me up in your plane.
I know he's never going to watch this, but
definitely not.
Somebody might.
All right, so I did have a couple more nitpicking notes. These are the last ones I have.
Let's hear 'em.
All right, so first the pilot that she had him under her gun, I guess, to grab Bond. Bond almost, it looked like Bond almost missed the jump too. He like barely gets it, which wouldn't that have been funny if Bond just died because he missed it. But and then I guess he just drops him off and then just leaves with his. Now it's his plane. Everybody else is dead anyway, so he just got a free plane, a free helicopter out of the deal. So that's cool. I mean, I guess he's just like, fine. Yeah, y'all just get off here. I'll just
kind of like how Bond got a free plane at the beginning of the movie.
That's true. He didn't use it very well, but oh yeah, you're talking about that one. Oh yeah, no, okay. And then also the Marines were just laying there under the grass the whole time. That seems
like they could have helped, right?
Yeah, like, well, either they could have helped, or why were they in that position to begin with? Like, I assume they're, quite a bit further out from and they were just laying in the grass. What was their plan?
Hey, the few, the proud, the Marine.
I mean, what was the plan here for them just to lay there?
And what is okay? What is Jack Wade's deal with gardening? Because do you remember what he says when Bond is like, "What are you doing here?" or something like that, and Jack Wade goes,
You do any gardening, Bond?
"Tobacco plants." Like you remember him saying that at the end, like, tobacco plants. Like what? What the fuck? Like I don't know.
So
I'm just glad that Jack Wade kept his promise.
He did.
I mean, Jack Wade did what he said he was going to, you know what I mean?
Hey, yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go get the Marines. Peeling out in the BMW.
I want to see a spinoff of. I just want a 2-hour movie of Jack Wade. It starts where Jack Wade gets that BMW, and it's just 2 hours of him fucking around in the car.
Well, it's gonna have to be like it needs to be in the same continuity as the new 007. Just be like he just got the news about what happened to 007. So then
Okay.
like the camera pans over to Channing Tatum's Jack Wade.
Okay. Yeah.
And like he goes and he gets in the BMW. He's like, "Ain't no gardening gonna get done today.
So,
I gotta go visit my boy."
so guys,
I'll be back soon, Muffy.
Oh, they're back together. Okay.
I don't know.
No. I like this.
Sure.
He finds out about Felix and Bond at the same time. You realize how upset he's got to be?
Oh, this is in the new.
Yes, yes.
I got you. Okay, so
That's why it's
so
Channing.
he and Muffy never got a divorce in this new
Probably.
timeline. Okay.
so what's your last words on Goldeneye, guys?
Go ahead.
As far as Russia is concerned, isn't he still a terrorist that killed their minister of defense?
That's a good question.
So, yeah, maybe so.
That would explain why there are
I-
no Russian allies in the rest of the Brosnan. I don't know. Valentine comes back.
Well, he's not. Yeah, but he's not with the government anyway. So he doesn't.
True.
Well, I mean, in the world is not enough. He is kind of with the Russian government because he goes to a FSB safe house in Istanbul, Turkey. So I mean,
Well, he probably knows more about like what's
Yeah.
actually going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as the Russian government's concerned, the only person that knew it wasn't him was the general.
And Natalia.
Yeah, but why would they believe her?
Well, they believed her about the satellite. Well, Michigan did. I don't know. Yeah, no, I mean they Ormov successfully framed Bond.
Yeah, as far as I
Like-
can tell, he killed their minister of defense and then drove a tank through their city.
yeah, he would definitely be like number one,
Yeah,
Russia's most wanted. I mean,
Most wanted. Well, okay. Think
He's
of
a
it like
war
this.
criminal.
Think of it like this. All right. It's a new M. He finishes the mission, goes back to MI6. M just got through evaluating him because he just went AWOL. He comes back and she's like, "What is this shit about you killing the defense minister and driving the tank, driving this tank to St. Petersburg?" And Bond's like, "Okay, the tank thing is on me, but I did not shoot the minister of defense." And she's like, I don't believe you."
well, guys,
Like, I don't care if you believe me.
I'm going to say this about the movie. I'm a fan of every one of Pierce Brosnan's Bond movies. I would probably say this is probably his best. And I love Tomorrow Never Dies, and I love The World Is Not Enough, and I like Die Another Day. But I would say, man, Goldeneye, it's hard to beat Goldeneye, and I say that about all the other Bond movies too. It's hard to beat Goldeneye still. Like, I mean, there's only a few that I think could stand up against Goldeneye. And we will talk about that in our ranking video whenever we get done with this series. But that's all I've got to say. Colton, what do you think about it?
So, what I really want to say is if you're out there and you like James Bond, when you get to Goldeneye, this is probably the climax of your Bond experience. Like,
thus far.
I mean,
Oh.
this far, but I mean, like, Casino Royale is great, and some of the other ones I like them. Like, I'm just saying, like, this is probably it's not my favorite. It's peak. Like, this is my second favorite movie. This is you are not going to experience another high like this until you get to Casino Royale. I don't think.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, and it's not to diminish the other films. This is just me putting this film on a pedestal where it deserves to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It does. And I was afraid going into this that a lot of my feelings toward this movie were just going to be like rooted in nostalgia. And to be honest with you, they probably are. And I don't really see an issue with that.
No, it's totally warranted.
Because this was my first Bond movie. Like, I have a lot of personal attachment to this movie. And to me, with all its contrivances, it is a perfect Bond movie.
I'm not trying to steal something from Calvin Dyson, but he made his second review of Goldeneye and he called it the Bond film of a generation. And like, I do believe that is right. Like, it is. I mean, I think this movie and the game especially is what made at least me and Caleb Bond fans.
Yeah. And also real quick, from a technical standpoint, I mentioned in the first part how much this movie was having to do. And the fact that it did not fumble any one of those points is impressive in itself.
Yeah.
And it just so happened to be a great movie too. So,
Brent, what do you think about it, my man? Final words on it, Medicine Man.
I mean, I thought it was good. I thought it was a really good movie. Like every action, every movie's gonna have things you can point out.
Yeah,
sure.
That I mean, but especially for me to watch it in 2023 and still feel like it holds up as a good movie. The first time I've ever seen it. I mean, I think that says a lot about it.
I agree.
You watched this last month?
It's 2024, isn't it? Huh, you're right. No. Okay, especially for me to watch this in 2024 and it to be a movie made in 1995 and it still hold up like this.
Yeah.
Good. I mean,
well, guys, I think we've said all we need to say about this movie. Next time we will be on here talking about Pierce Brosnan's sophomore outing, Tomorrow Never Dies, or as it was originally called, Tomorrow Never Lies. So, Medicine Man, you are more than welcome to come back next time. I don't know if that's something you want to do, but you get with Caleb Mabry and y'all figure it out. You are always welcome.
I want to say something to that point. Brent, I do really appreciate you coming on.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I really did not expect you. One, I didn't expect you to come on, let alone enjoy the movie. So I'm pleased as punch. Dude, if you could come on for Die Another Day, God.
Yes.
Yeah. Please.
But
you know,
comes in. So Brent comes in. We all load into the pod.
And he's just drunk.
Take his headset off and just throws it.
He's just drunk. No, I'm not trying to like, I won't hold you to it, but it would be really funny if you could come on for that one.
We'll say.
Okay.
Wait, Die Another Day. Is that the one I just watched? No, Die Another Day is.
No, you watched No Time to Die Another Day.
Okay. All right. That's confusing. All right. But okay, I thought you were talking about that one. I was like, oh, fucking nanobots.
Yeah.
So anybody, go ahead. I'm sorry. What?
Oh, I was just gonna say we really should do a separate video for this game, I would be.
Oh yeah, we need to. Yes.
Yeah, but
I agree.
go ahead. I'm done. I've said my piece.
If you've made it this far into this, hit the subscribe button and hit that like button, please. If you like what we did, if you don't like what we did, hit the dislike button. Okay.
And
Leave us
tell
a
us down
comment.
below what we did wrong.
Yes. Leave us a comment. We always like seeing fan stuff. And there's still that one person.
Who is that guy?
I know there's still that one guy who said he wanted to join us, and I've never been able to get in touch with him. But if you're out there and you want to, let us know because we can do it. All right. But I leave you and all you guys out in TV land with this. Muffy? Anyway, if you guys are done, I'm done as well. And I'm ready to sign off. This has been a super long one. And if you've watched both episodes, thanks. We will see you next time. And Tomorrow Never Dies. Jonathan Lyon out.
One more thing. You guys all said a line from the movie, and I've been trying to think of one to close with, so beg your pardon. Forgot to knock. All right, that's good.
That's the perfect line. Except you should have said it at the beginning.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that is, but it's the best one I could think of. So
It's one of the best lines in the film. I love it.
oh yeah.
Well, thanks guys. Thanks everybody for coming. Thanks Brent. Thanks Caleb. Thanks John. It's been a good one.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, dude, for real. Thanks for coming.
Till next time.
See you guys.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye.